Yeah, so I've been called lucid intuition, and the reason for that is because since it's about recognizing or sensing internally, or like in the metaphysical bodies, the primordial VR systems or virtual realities, like more core virtual realities is what it basically means. It means virtual realities closer to source is what it means. For example, chakras, archetypes, the Akashic record, and for instance, angels too, like beings. It's actually usually it's INFJs. They are very often claiming to be in contact with angels. That is something I've seen, a pattern I've been seeing over and over and over, and we can kind of maybe there's different reasons for, like, we can think about different reasons for why that is the case. But if you ask and talk a lot to different INFJs, you will actually realize that many of these INFJs, they believe in angels, and they feel like they have had like this protective energy around them, like angels who are kind of comforting them and caring for them, and making sure they are going the right path in their life, and so forth. Which I've started to believe that, because I think it's actually true. I've been talking to a lot of INFJs, and I think in the end it's because they have this NI, lucid intuition, that they are capable of grasping this more kind of deeper realities. That's why they are able to grasp these deeper realities. And also because of FE, I think when you have FE, you kind of have this awareness of what is alive around you. So they have like this perception into the deeper reality, plus the perception of external living content, and that is why I think they are aware of such as angels, and spirit guides is very normal too. Archangel, guardian angel, guardian angel and spirit guides are very very normal for INFJs to talk about. But actually, if you want to study this, you gotta be kind of aware that INFJs are very private about this stuff. They don't really want to share this stuff with people. In fact, they when I kind of discover this, they are kind of they kind of don't like it, because they don't want me to see who they are in a way. But it's been multiple times on, for example, a pub, and I've been I just usually when I see an INFJ, I almost know it instantly that this is an INFJ, and I can further use my intuition and evaluate that. Can I ask this question? And if I can, I will. And I've probably asked it three times is what I've been asking it 3 times, and all of those 3 times the INFJ did believe in angels, and it was like that's the first thing I said to the person. Like, I didn't say hi, blah blah blah. I was like, it was the first thing I said, because I really find it fun to guess and get it right, especially when it should be wrong but it's right. So that's really funny to me. Not all INFJs believes in angels, just to say that. It's like you can kind of grasp it on the vibe. Usually, if they are more spiritual, that's typically when that's the case, or when they are. You can actually kind of notice in their vibe, like because if a person believes in something, it's going to shape everything about the person, basically. Um, yeah, when a person believes something, and especially like if their chakras are more open, it can be sensed, and that's usually when people are spiritual. It's like when they are more open and more. You can kind of sense it on their energy, right? That's what I'm trying to get to. So that's also how I could pin down the INFJs. I could actually ask this question too. Okay, so lucid dreaming in a virtual reality dream. What do I mean by that? Yeah, so I called it lucid intuition, right? So the thing is, when we are lucid in a dream, it's kind of, we are aware of dreaming, so we are not so identified with what's happening in the dream. In fact, we know that we are outside the dream. That's like, we know that's where our true body is outside the dream. So you can start to not be so identified in the dream that you're having, and that means you can also change it, right? You can change what's going on in the dream. I remember when I was a kid and got lucid dream, I was it was like I was in this ski elevator above I don't know the English words, but like a kraken basically, a monster. And I had that nightmare several times. But like when I learned to get lucid, I could just turn myself into a superhero, and I had all the power that I needed to defeat that kraken anyway. So it was like the nightmare turned into no big deal, right? I could just in fact I felt good instead. So that's what lucid means in this context. Is like you have the ability to understand this reality that we believe is reality. Like we are deceived by the reality that we see. Like in the dream, we also believe in the dream because we're identified with it, right? And if you're lucid, you kind of understand the dream more as yourself, essentially, and you can see a lot of an eye people. They oftentimes they kind of understand that what happens in the reality is not so random, but more like it's more like a dream that you're dreaming unconsciously. So they kind of look at events in a very different way than people who are more lost in the dream. So it's more like that they feel less victimized because they know that every bad thing that happens in reality is more like feedback to yourself. Feedback. And I'm not sure if it's completely like that, to be honest, but like that is a very valuable perspective to take and a perspective to have with you. I think it's like that at least partially, maybe even fully, but at least partially I think it's like that. So it's a very you can experiment with it. So that's what I've been doing a lot. Like if I'm in a scenario in real life that it's maybe I feel misunderstood, or maybe I feel like a victim in some way, and I'm going to, rather than blaming my environment, I'm going to this is probably my fault in a way, even though I'm not I don't know that I'm doing it. So in that scenario, when I feel misunderstood, I could try to reshape my perception, and since my perception is changed, my feelings will also change. And if my perception is okay, if I choose to not feel misunderstood in this context, will it happen again in the future? Will I still experience that I'm misunderstood all the time? And in my experience, I think it's been it's helped a lot to kind of change my response to what's happening to me. And if you do that over and over, I think it's gonna shape your thoughts and feelings, and also actually how the reality dreams itself is like a collective dream probably, and like you the energies will kind of support also the life around you and yourself to kind of end up in a different place. So you don't have to experience this emotion over and over and over and over in different ways. Yeah, like for example, if you don't feel loved, if you feel unlovable, maybe reality and your own body actually tries what it can to make you experience that experience over and over and over, because the reality kind of thinks that you want that experience because you are creating it, because you are sending this emotion out to the universe, and the universe might say then, okay, you want to experience this emotion, so we are going to send it to you over and over. And also in SI, since SI is stability, it's kind of the same as like if you have a chronic emotion or belief in your habitual self, it's going to try to stay the same. So it's going to try to reintroduce the emotion habitually across your life if you have it deeply habituated, that emotional signature, which could be I'm unlovable, for example. That could be a signature, or emotional emotional signature. Yeah. And again, I'm not sure if that is a reality, but it's very worth to entertain the idea and just test for yourself: is this true or is it not? So that's kind of, there's going to be a little bit of repetition. So the world as a body is kind of that's what I'm saying, that NI is kind of more, they are looking at their whole life as their body, right? Like they have more metaphysical bodies they are aware of. So they're kind of looking at the totality of their life experience, and they are kind of understanding events outside of themselves as a part of their body, basically. At least the high NI does that, I believe, just from my observations, by the way. Because I've been trying to look a lot into NI myself, because I believed it was one of my functions that needed the most healing. So I've been kind of studying NI heroes and NI in general to kind of understand what I'm doing wrong in my cognition. Why do I relate to NI in the wrong way, right? That was my in my past. I was very I didn't like to see into the future very much, because I saw it so clearly, like my future is going in the wrong way, like in a dark way, and that is basically like I just used my NI wrongly in a way. I didn't have the same optimism that real NI really are having, because they understand manifestation better than I would. So they know that they should be optimistic as a way to get into a brighter future. Yeah, so they are focusing on changing the dream or the reality. That is what NI kind of likes to do. It likes to change reality or manifest something new by focusing on that one goal or image. Yeah, and this goal is actually already true in nonsense or in intuition. The goal is already it's already correct, right? It's already true. So, for example, when I said that if I'm in a scenario where I feel misunderstood. I feel misunderstood in a scenario. Maybe I did some. Maybe a person thinks badly of me, but I didn't do anything wrong, for example, and I'm blaming that person because that person doesn't know who I am or whatever. And even if that is kind of accurate, it's still more accurate that it's my feeling of being misunderstood that actually attracted this event to occur. So what I could do in that scenario is my new goal could be more like I want to manifest this emotion, like the emotion of not being misunderstood, like people understand you clearly. I could try to manifest that goal by basically knowing that it's already true. It's already true in nonsense. It's not manifest yet, but it's true if I believe it and if I hold the image and if I feel like it is true, regardless of how many times kind of reality comes back to me and says, no matter how many times I get misunderstood after that, if I can hold the image of not being misunderstood and not feeling misunderstood, it's going to kind of force reality to change. It's going to force even my own thoughts. Maybe it, for example, that's a more down to earth explanation, which many may prefer, which is it will kind of influence my thoughts, for instance, so I can explain with thoughts that it's more easier to grasp, for instance. Yeah. It can also be like, as you know, I'm very spiritual in a way. At least my new understanding is very spiritual. And if I want to be understood, maybe reality attracts to me more spiritual people. So we kind of have more understanding, and I will feel understood as a result of that. Okay, yeah, so Ni plus Si is kind of best at synthesizing and interpreting unconscious data. So Ni is kind of the unconscious of metaphysical bodies, and Si is kind of the subconscious of the physical bodies, or the most like superficial systems and realities. Yeah. And Ni has vivid and unique imagery. Yeah, imagination, vivid and unique imagination. So they kind of have a very unique. Yeah, I'm just. This is a parallel I have to Fi, for instance, because Fi is very unique. Unique personality in a way, unique yeah, the Fi know what she desire, so she kind of makes a very unique thing that doesn't look like somebody else because she knows what she likes, and the same is kind of true for Ni. It kind of have a very unique way to imagine things. So these imaginations of an Ni can be very, actually kind of hard for other people to understand in a way. It's a very like quirky imagination, I could imagine. Just maybe. And they experience symbols in a very energetic way, because they kind of are able to identify with the symbol and with the energy that it holds. I already said something about this, like same with music. If you want to if you want to have the music to have more effect on yourself, you kind of just identify with the music and focus into it, and you like, not everyone knows how to do that, which kind of is the difference between background music and music that you really listen to and which evokes emotions in you. Yeah. So Ni plus Fe, yeah, this is what I talked about before, makes this angel perception in a way, or guardian angels, or archangels, or spirit guides. So they are able to feel this non-personal emotion by tuning into the metaphysical environment, essentially. Yeah, so people with Ni plus Fe are typically the ones who can channel spirits and souls. And yeah, channeling is, by the way, like when people close their eyes and they are feeling like some other entity giving them impressions, feelings, thoughts, images, and they then kind of interpret these sensations into a message that they speak out. So they kind of get, it's actually the same as intuition in a way. It's more like a super intuition, like the channel is kind of wide open and you get all this clear data into your body, and you kind of in the Ni plus Fe context, they kind of separate them. They kind of move themselves, their own habitual self. They kind of move it to the side, and then they listen to this external intuition, which often comes from what they would describe as something alive, like for example, spirit guides. Someone also calls this stuff for collectives, like a living collective, and that is basically what Fe is in Cataronics. It's kind of the idea in Cataronics is that Fe is actually a collective being. So in Cataronics, collective beings is as real as individual beings. They're kind of two sides of the same coin, if you want. Yeah, so what is the existential purpose of Ni? It's kind of the ascension process and awakening to the whole body of reality and self. So it kind of helps us to basically wake up to where are the rest of our body that we didn't know about. That's kind of what it wants to do. So it makes us familiar with the familiar unknown, because what that means is like you actually know about this unknown is actually known, but you have forgotten it because you have become unconscious in the process of survival. So yeah, it's re-established like a familiarity with what you actually, the body that you always had, in a way. And that's why they feel suddenly can feel like, oh, we have chakras, we have meridians. They get these insights, like intuitive downloads almost, and they just believe it's true because they can feel it, they can sense it in their metaphysical body. Yeah. So, and the goal is kind of, the divinity is kind of the end goal for Ni, to kind of understand that we are the divine body. It's we just didn't know, right? We didn't know it, and through knowing this, through like sensing in the metaphysical bodies, yeah, it develops intuition, and then into super intuition, and then into channeling. It's kind of you get more and more contact with the totality of your body, and also when you're channeling other beings, you are essentially doing that through through the collective body, right? Because we all share the same body, so we can also talk through the same body. And if we allow for it, right? And that's kind of what these NI-FE people does. They believe, they have faith, and they put themselves aside, so they are kind of making themselves open, and then they have faith in what comes through, in a way. Yeah. Yeah, and by the way, when I'm kind of making this theory, I think I'm also channeling, actually, when I'm understanding all of this, but I'm not channeling from another being than myself. I think it's my soul, in a way. I think I'm just channeling more of a personal. It's kind of like if NI-FE channels impersonal people, you could say maybe FI and plus NE channels the personal essence or core of self instead. Basically the soul, right? Okay. Yeah, and NI is very tolerant of unfamiliar perspectives. So this is a function that actually, again, kind of steps outside of the habitual self. So it's more open to what is said by everyone and everything. It's kind of almost a sort of spiritual discipline, in a way, which helps the person to explore much more of what is actually out there. And this also affects what this person chooses to or feels like is true in their intuition or in their feeling, or in both. Yeah, and the core mechanism is therefore, the core mechanism is manifesting reality, because when you focus on an image, it's also created as a new reality. So it's kind of the most simple, in the quantum example, when the particle pops up right somewhere, you can kind of think of it's Ni choosing to focus on the particle on that place. That's kind of what it is. While NE, or extroverted intuition, is more like it's also the same thing, but it's more aware of it's aware of every place the particle can be put. And also you can also think of it like multi-NI, so it's you can also think that external intuition could manifest 3 particles at the same time by holding the focus on 3 particles at once, right? But Ni would kind of do it in 1 particle, and it would manifest faster and more clearly, because it's about focus. But NE is very good at a multi-focus, in a way, a multi-complex imaginations, you could perhaps call it. Yeah, so NI is kind of manifesting this new visionary focus. It's very effective for long-term goals and so forth.